In this video, let us discuss about methods in Java. So, methods are used to write code, and you can invoke methods using the object. Okay. So, before discussing methods, let us introduce few variables in this class student. Okay. So, student have marks. So, let us declare a variable int science marks to store the marks obtained in science. Let us declare another variable int maths marks, then int language marks. So these are the variables used to store the marks obtained by the student. Okay, so let us create object in this student demo class. Inside the main method, let us create object. Already we have created objects. At line number 6, we have created object s1 equal to new student. So we assign values, id value 100, name as John. Okay, so we also assign value for this language marks. I assign value 70%, and s1 dot maths marks 80, and science marks as 85. Okay. So suppose we want to calculate the total marks and display that marks. So we can do this by using this way: int total marks equal to s1 dot language marks plus s1 dot maths marks plus s1 dot science marks. Okay, then we can print the total marks using system.out.println. Okay, so system.out.println total marks, total marks is, you can print the value this variable total marks. Okay, so let us run this code and see the output. See, the total marks is printed as 235. Okay, so instead of doing this, we can write a method. We can introduce a method in the student class, and that method will calculate the total marks. So that is possible. So let us see how to do that. So in order to declare a method, so we have to use this way: public and void. Let us write calculate total marks, and inside this method, let us calculate the total marks. So let us copy this code from here, int total marks. So here we don't have to use s1 dot object dot is not necessary, because this method is inside this student class, so it can directly access this variable. So we can directly access these variables. Science marks plus maths marks plus language marks. Okay, so this way we can access the variables. Now we can use system.out.println to print these values. System.out.println, right? We can print the total marks. Total total marks. Then we can print the variable total marks. So this way we can write a method. So the method actually calculate total marks. It doesn't return any value, so we are using the return type as void. That means it is not returning any value, any data. It is not returning any data. Okay, so now let us call this method from student demo class. So what we can do is we let us comment. Let us no need to comment. Instead of comment, we can do this way. We can call this method s1 dot and call the method calculate total marks. So this will call this method, and that method will calculate the value and print the total marks. So now let us run this code. We can comment this line of code, and also we can comment these two lines. Now let us run this code and see the output. See here, total marks is printed as 235. Total marks 235. So let us do one more thing. Let us do one more change in this method. Instead of this calculate total marks, print this value. Let us print the value inside the student demo class. So let us make a change in this method. That is, this method will return the value. So instead of printing here itself, let us return this value. Let us comment this, or you can remove this system.out.println here, and let us change the return type as int. It is going to, this method will return the total marks. So return, and write return total marks. So now this method return this, calculate the total mark, and it will return it. So the return data type is integer. So we have written as public int calculate total marks. So now let us, in this student demo class, what we do is we will get this value. So by this way, so total marks equal to s1 dot calculate total marks. Let us uncomment this sysout at line number 25. Now it will print the value. So let us run this code and see the output. See here, it is printing total marks 235. Let us make one more change in this code. Like, let us write a method which will assign the marks to these variables. Instead of we assign marks at the student demo class, let us have a method at student class. Let us create a, declare a method. Okay, public void. Let us have a method like assign marks, and this method takes three parameters. One is science mark, science marks, integer maths marks, integer language marks. Okay, so these are called parameters of a method. So we declare parameters inside this, in this method. So these Parameters are used to assign values to these variables: science mark, math mark, and language marks. So how to assign values now? See how we do that. Let us see this. Equal to science marks. Okay. And maths marks equal to maths marks. And language marks equal to language marks. Okay. So this is how we can assign values to these variables. Now let us call this method from the student demo class. So how to call this? So we can comment, now we can comment the line number 11, line number 12, and line number 13. And now we can call this method, right? S1 dot uh, assign marks, and we can assign the values. So we can pass these values. So they are called arguments. So we are passing arguments to this method, assign marks method, 85, 80, 80, and 70. Okay. So now let us again call this, run this code. So now we are using this assign marks method, which takes three arguments. We are passing three arguments. This assign marks will assign values to these variables of the student object. Then we are calling calculate total marks method, which will calculate the total marks and it will return the total marks to the caller. Okay. So let us run this code and see the output now. See the output now. Now total marks is come as 0. So let us see what happens. Let us debug this code. Okay. So what happens here? So we are calling S1 assign marks. We are passing 85, 80, 70, and we are calling. Uh, the problem is, the problem here is, we have to use this keyword. So using this keyword, this will be fixed. So this actually represent the variables, the object variable, this object variable. Okay. So now we let us run this code and see the output now. See now the total marks we got as 250. Okay. So this is how we can write methods to any class and use the methods.